Let's have a conversation about how you could be pricing your photo services. Are you tired of the endless stream of fantasy marketing and vanity metrics? Yeah, so am I. My name is James Patrick, and I'm an internationally published photographer, media specialist, and marketing strategist. I'm also a student of professional development, and like you, I've been left frustrated by all of this influencer driven generic advice, making us think that we are just one course, conference, or manifestation away from the life of our dreams. We need to cut through this crap and move beyond the posturing, beyond the facade, beyond the image to take real action on the real work that will create the real results. This is the Beyond the Image podcast. What is going on? And thank you so much for tuning in to this, our latest episode of the Beyond the Image podcast. I'm honored that you could take some time to get some information and get a little inspiration to help you in your entrepreneurial journey. I've been posting a lot on social media about the plights of so many creatives as it comes to dealing with negotiating rates with clients. More often than not, clients who don't want to pay creatives. But I thought, let's mix it up and let's actually talk about you have a client who is willing to pay you, but how you can assess those rates or how you can determine what you should or could be charging because pricing as a creative is hard and pricing is stressful and pricing is anxiety producing. And I found that these three pillars that we're going to discuss have been instrumentally beneficial as guiding posts to determine how to best price our services. Before we get into that, I want to let you know that we are 2 weeks out from Get Published Live number 10. Number 10 started in 2015. 10 years of Get Published Live. This is your chance to land media features, to get media training, to learn how to leverage earned media to amplify your brand awareness and to generate new leads for your brand and your business. Details are available at getpublishedlive.com. We have in-person and virtual passes available, getpublishedlive.com. All right, so there are really three ways that I look at the valuation of a creative project. And when I'm bidding on a creative project or I'm valuing out what a creative project is worth when it comes to my services, the first thing I look at is what is the economic value of this project or of the images I'm going to be creating for this project. Now, the economic value covers this is the biggest one. It covers a multitude of factors that are including but not limited to, well, who's hiring? Who are the images for? What are they going to be using the images for? Is this for print ads? Is this for social ads? Is this for a magazine feature? Is this just for someone's portfolio? Where are these images going? So are they being used just locally in a local magazine? Are they being used on their website? Are they being used for social media? Are they being used in a national print ad campaign? Are they being used for a global print and digital ad campaign? How long are the images being used for? So all this kind of covers usage, which is who's using it, where are they using it, how are they using it, and how long are they using it for? Usage aside, excuse me, how long is the photo shoot? How many images am I creating? How many edits of the images do I need to produce? How many sets are we doing? How many locations do we have to shoot? Do we have to rent locations? Then comes in factors like all the expenses that might be a part of a production, like contract labor, hair and makeup, talent, location scouting, gear rental, supplies, catering, etc. Okay. All of this falls under the economic value of a project. All right. The second is the creative value of a project or the creative value of the images. Now, this is the value that you, as the entrepreneur, as a creative, that you yourself are setting. And another way to look at this is how much creative control are you getting to make the images that you really want to make or that you're really excited about? Now, not always, but I found that the creative value and the economic value are often inversely related, meaning the more creative control I receive on a project typically the lower the budget of that project could be. So, for example, magazine projects, editorial projects might not have big budgets, but they give lots of creative control. Commercial campaigns might have much larger, healthier budgets, but might be taking away some of the creative control to the photographer. So, it's not always that case, but oftentimes I find that creative value and economic value are inversely related. So you can assess, all right, well, if I'm getting lots of creative control, does that impact what I'm setting my pricing at? Or if I'm not being given any creative control or any creative like freeway or landscape to work with, maybe that is going to affect how I'm pricing out a project. And the third thing is the opportunity value. Now, this comes with a big warning. The opportunity value is something only you as a creative can determine. If someone is telling you that something is a really big opportunity for you, that's a pretty big red flag. But that aside, are there or is there an intangible opportunity tied to your involvement or your work on this project? And that's that X factor that can determine how flexible you are on the pricing of your project. So here's an example. A number of years ago, a magazine approached me and asked me to photograph a first round NFL draft pick for the cover of their magazine. I asked the budget for the photo shoot, and their budget was super low. So that's the economic value. Like, what's your budget? Economic value. And I determined that I was probably going to lose money because had to travel for this photo shoot and I had to hire an assistant for this photo shoot. And based off the budget they had, I was going to lose money. All right. So my economic value is actually below zero, but they were willing to give me full creative control. So they said, you can make the images you want to make. As long as we get something for a cover, you get to work with them. You get to make the images you want to make. So my creative value is really high. So economic value low, creative value really high. But now let's look at the opportunity value. And for me, at this point in my career, I looked at this and I was getting a first round NFL draft pick in front of my camera to make whatever images I wanted to make for several hours. And at that time, that was a huge opportunity for me. I saw that as an opportunity. It was an opportunity I wanted. So I took the project. And as anticipated, I lost money because I had to spend more money to produce this photo shoot than I was actually paid by the magazine. So lost money after expenses. But I took those images and I marketed them to larger clients, editorial and commercial clients, to show how I work with professional athletes. And that one shoot then yielded me numerous editorial and commercial campaigns as a result, because it was exactly the imagery that I needed in my portfolio and in my marketing to propel my work to a higher tier of clientele. So the opportunity value on this paid off exponentially. And it doesn't always do it, but that is one example of how I will balance out these three different pillars. What is the economic value? I recently worked on a commercial campaign that had a very, very, very high economic value. It was a big budget project. There were lots of pieces involved, but there wasn't really any creativity involved in the project. It was a very much a templated approach to a production that the client was looking for. So I wasn't given a lot of creative runway with this. So high budget, low creative value, opportunity value. It wasn't really there. This was not a project or type of work I was campaigning a lot for. So the opportunity value would have been zero. So the fact that there was a healthy budget, I was comfortable putting a higher bid in for that project. Okay. So in sum, this is why there's no standard rate to creative services like photography. It's because our work is both the need of solving problems or solving needs or providing solutions to needs for our clients, as well as it's a subjective art form. And even though there's not this undefeated, flawless approach to how you price your work, I've really found that having these three pillars, looking at the economic value of a project, the creative value of a project, and the opportunity value of a project, has helped me so much in guiding my pricing decisions. But ultimately, Whatever your intuition tells you is the right price, well, it's gonna be the right price. Thank you so much for tuning in.